Welcome everyone to the craziness that is being here. I, it's like it's not even like really a show. It's more of an experience. It's like it's just us, right? And like so I don't really feel like you're part of the Isekarl show. Da, 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 da. It's more of like Isekarl's like the name that's on everything, but like you're really just like hanging out with us is more of like what I'm hoping the feel is. And yeah, so what we do here, to anyone that doesn't know, whenever you stumble upon my content, if you don't know what it is that we do here, that's okay. That's normal. We do have medicine for it, but you do not need to see a doctor. This is your cup of tea. If this is the sort of stuff that you enjoy, please, you know, like all the things to like, comment on all the things to comment. Actually, what we'll be doing today specifically is going through some D&D and RPG horror stories, right? So, if you want to comment on your DM advice or whether it be good or bad, I'm excited to hear any of it. If you just want to comment about your day, that's also cool too. I this is really cool. I haven't done anything this like freeing before, to where I'm just not as concerned as I was once before when I was but a lad of like yesterday. So, I have ADHD and I'm dyslexic, so my girlfriend's going to be reading all of the stuff because she knows how to read.
Do
In
it a lot.
in fact,
I may or may not be doing it right now.
you could probably like if if she could kill with her ability to read, like
What?
she could probably kill gods. Like I ain't gonna lie, she's probably like a level 40 character, and D&D usually caps at 20. She probably has the equivalent of all of the magic items, just because she reads that much. Like so, I just learned about, what was it, SCPs, right? And like
Yeah, like those things.
there's like thousands of them. She could probably read them
Over
all in a
7,000.
day.
Hey,
That
that's a bit much.
that's a bit much, but
That's a
not
bit much. Just give me
wrong.
like a week.
Still,
I gotta do other things.
God, like
I mean, like, yeah, I gotta go to work.
everyone
And
gotta
those
go work.
stories make me feel like hella paranoid. Okay, like I cannot read them when I'm by myself.
It does
I
it.
have to be in a room with somebody else, and it cannot be nighttime.
I do gotta find it funny that like I did get like that sort of edginess to it, but this is a super distraction. We're not trying to derail this too much. We will stay on topic. We'll at least do that. That is one thing we'll do here, is try our best to stay on topic as best we can. So, so what is what's the go ahead? I guess go ahead and get started for us. Who's the post by and what's it called?
Okay, so this was posted by Throwaway for Now May Change. It was posted 3 days ago. The title is called The World's Greediest DM. Okay, so a few years ago, when I was in high school, I got really into D&D lore along with a friend of mine. We wanted to play a game, but we didn't really have anyone to DM for us, and we thought that maybe a professional might be the best opinion or the best option to help us really learn what the game was about. So we hired a DM. Now, I have to say that I have no problem with paid DMs, obviously. They provide a professional service for fun when they wouldn't otherwise, and we were more than happy to pay him for that. This goes beyond that, as you will see. Our campaign is set in the Forgotten Realms, but the campaign is homebrewed. Setting is somewhat post-apocalyptic. We generally went through the first month or two just fine with no issues. Our characters, there were 5 of us at the table plus the DM, began to buy more equipment and actively search for magic items to strengthen our characters. It's kind of necessary as this campaign was brutal. The first red flag was when we talked to this NPC about a quest for this bone bow, a magic item in the Underdark. but he would only tell us the location if we paid him. We assumed he meant in-game gold and asked how much gold. Then the bomb drops. The DM in character says, "Oh no, your gold is no good here. I will require something a little more green." Yes, he was really that cringe about it. He wanted 10 fucking dollars for an in-game magic item.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I already need to break this. That threw me off. Bro wanted microtransactions. That's great. He wanted microtransactions in this D&D campaign. Yo, does that mean like you got like if you want to play Curse of Strahd, that's gonna be $60. We gotta put like prices on this like it's an expansion pass. This is gonna be great. Okay, I'm sorry. That I just needed to. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Can I keep going?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So we all figured out what he was talking about and just looked at him like, what the hell? He tried to trick us into thinking that this was normal for paid games since we were all new players, but even back then, we were suspicious. But we didn't really have a frame of reference and we liked the game, so we stupidly decided to simply reject the quest and move on.
Yeah.
The microtransactions would get worse.
Yeah, wait until you.
A couple weeks.
He used the same term. Wait until what is it? Wait until you realize it's pay to win. About guarantee it. That's what I'm gonna call out. You're gonna find out you needed that bone bow in order to beat whatever. Okay, that's my theory. We can move on. Sorry.
A couple weeks after that, I remember that we were leveling up after defeating a mini boss. Our wizard was leveling up. He had waited late to choose his subclass for roleplay purposes, but he was now level 5, and he decided to go with Chronergy. The DM then tells Wizard, "Nice choice, you'll go far with Chronergy, and it'll only be $20. At that point, Wizard started calling him out in real life. He said the DM was ripping them off and that the DM said that it was an elite subclass and is kind of OP. He also said that it was basically the price of one extra session. He then tried to make Wizard feel like he was greedy and petty for not paying for one measly extra session. Wizard then straight up called him a greedy bastard and left the table.
Just super from microtransactions to super gaslighting.
We didn't. Man, we were idiots back then. We really thought that this was our only chance of playing D&D and that we could avoid these ridiculous microtransactions. Well, we were wrong. Over the next couple of months, the DM gradually added more and more microtransactions to the game, usually in the form of prestigious gear and weapons sold at vendors. We still had not actually bought anything, which seemed to make the DM angry. It gradually got worse to the point where we were legitimately underprepared if we didn't buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to the party in a secret group chat. The DM hated the idea of us talking behind his back and debated whether or not to cave to his financial demands or just leave the game. We ended up, once again, compromising and decided to keep playing without buying anything. We would struggle and potentially die a few times, but we thought we could at least finish the campaign. Call it the sunk cost fallacy, if you will. That brings us to one of the most important quests of the game. The DM hyped it up like it was nobody's business. We were going to the corrupted Feywild to find out the secret of this noble house that would help us learn the weaknesses of the BBEG and either save or conquer the world. We get to the mission and the quest giver tells us that we need a special type of gas mask to survive the Feywild due to the toxic air from the evil corruption. This gear would cost us $50. Not gold, not platinum, 50 real-life dollars each. There was no other way to reach the Feywild as we had tried in passing throughout the campaign. The DM was effectively charging us to play the main story that he was already charging us for. I don't know how I grew up here that day, but every single one of us looked at the DM with disgust, got up, and walked out. The DM then tried to beg us to come back. He tried to tell us bullshit about how we can technically progress through the story without it. He then tried to offer us discounts until he realized we weren't coming back and he decided to unleash of all even insults at us.
You can read the TLDR too.
Okay, so TLDR is Greedy DM tries to extort the party through microtransactions. We finally grow a pair when he effectively locks the main story behind a paywall, and we walk out.
Next level. Normally I'm supposed to be like, the voice of reason and whatnot, but I'm sorry. This guy
Bullshit.
knew exactly how to start a business. He just wrote down on like a whiteboard like who his heroes were. He wrote down EA, he wrote down Blizzard. Like he was just like, I got so many things. Why did he think that would work? The messed up thing is, if he didn't go as hard as he did on it, he probably could have made bank.
Right?
That
He just charged like $2.
Yeah, if you charge $2. Because people don't pay attention to that. People don't pay attention to that occasional $2 that they be dropping. And then by the end of the session, you would have made like several $100s just because of the fact that you kept like skipping. I should stop talking about this because people are gonna be like, this guy just like just set up like a business plan. Using my stuff to just like kind of like take advantage of like people wanting to experience D&D. Now, in terms of my honest opinion regarding the idea of like paid DMs, paying DMs, doing this as like a profession, I think depending on like the level, I think that's kind of fair. I do, because like I feel like if you found any of like your bigwig like mainstream like let's say you just somehow managed to, you were able to get like Matt Mercer from Critical Role to DM your campaign, I mean like chances are you'd probably have to pay him, and that wouldn't be that ridiculous because of the amount of work and all the stuff that goes into it and stuff like that. I do think that like because like we are willing to pay for so many different things, like in terms of like trying to think of like some sort of like we pay to go to the movies. Yep. We pay like $14 to go to the movies to like kill maybe 2 hours while movies are getting to the 3 to 4 hour area. But and then that's the cheap location. We pay like, what is it, like $20-$30 to go to like IMAX or whatever. And that's not even an interactive experience. I think depending on the level of work, there is a level of worth that could be put there. Because like, I kind of want to see a DM be a profession to the point to where they can make a living making campaigns, running these sessions, whatever. And they don't have to worry about themselves financially, and you get to experience the particular thing, and they'll have all that time to dedicate toward that session. But that would cost a lot of money, so I feel like ultimately it would always end up being like a freelance client by client based system, just because like, I mean, who could afford like a whole other person just to play D&D, right? Mm-hmm. So I personally think to a certain extent, with like strong consideration, it is fair to consider it like a type of occupation. I mean, like look at what I'm doing here. Like I'm literally like reaching out and hoping that like I can do what I love, and I feel like this would be no different, except like I'm seeing a value out of that. I can't really necessarily look at my own stuff and agree to the same, but now, when it comes to how you market yourself, I mean, yeah, sure, you don't want to undersell yourself, because like you gotta actually take serious consideration in the amount of time that you have to invest into it, and if anything's going to be worth it. Like, if you're getting enough money back for the time invested. That is always a thing to take in consideration. But they don't say it, do they? They don't say how much they spent on the campaign.
Not the whole campaign, and we don't know how many sessions they had, but we do know that they were charging around $20 a session.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is that the conclusion?
They said earlier in the story $20 was one extra session.
Yeah. Okay, so $20 a session. I guess it would depend on how long the session is. I mean, if you're killing a day, if you're killing 8 hours, I feel like $20 is kind of like a fair thing. Maybe what do you think? Would that be an amount you would be willing to pay?
$20 for a session?
For a session. Like for me, it's duration. Like if I'm paying
it would depend on.
Yeah,
it would depend on how often the session was and like how long that session would last.
Yeah, so a session is usually just like when you guys get together for that specific day. Whatever you do in that time frame is that session, right? I'm thinking like if you're killing around 8-10 hours, I definitely say that I would put down $20. And then if each person is paying $20,
yeah, that's like a 4-person party is $80, 5-person is $100.
5-person is
$100.
Kinda, right? Kinda. Because you also have to think about this. You have to, like, if we're actually considering this,
yeah,
and like,
you have to break it down to hourly and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know it's not actually that much
so like,
hourly.
what would that be? What would that be hourly?
For
almost 10 or over 10, 12. So let's say it's 8 hours. That'd be like $12 an hour, right? Because 10 would be 80, and then 12 would probably get you to 100. I'm thinking. And I mean, like in terms of my job, $12 an hour is not enough to keep me going, unfortunately.
No, that's not enough to make
and
a
then
living.
and then the worst part is like you would have to schedule that for like each day. You would have to get like with that setup. So for the most part, it's.
So, I feel like this would be a decent side hustle.
Oh yeah, but it's all about having the time. The reason why it's a problem is like the sheer amount of time that you have to invest into it and that would be the time you wouldn't get paid for, right? You're kind of only getting paid for what you're doing in the moment. You're not really getting paid for the preparation. It's no different than if we go back to that movie theater analogy, right? So like the movie theater getting like built, I mean like you would have a company that would have to put in that money to get the movie theater built. They're not currently getting money from the movies that will play there because the movie theater is getting built, right? So I feel like it's the same thing. Building these campaigns, especially in this one, this was a homebrew. It helped that it was Forgotten Realms. It helped that it was Faerun, but even with something as simple as just making it a post-apocalyptic setting can be a bunch of work. Time, effort invested into it. But my problem with this overall is that you're also missing out on one of the keyest features regarding tabletop RPGs in general, and that is would it be the vibe? Would that be the right word? The ambience, or what is the right word? So there is always going to be a difference between you getting together as friends and you paying that guy for your session, unless it's something like each person there is trying to make a like a career, establish a career in that space. Then everyone becomes like that level of coworker mentality and vibe, and then you could get something more similar to like the serious business application that stuff like Critical Role, Dimension 20, whatever do. But they also still at the end of the day have that family vibe, because they have one of the keyest things that a lot of these, like a lot of new sessions forego, and that is, you as a DM, you always take care of your players. Like it's not saying like you need to make sure that like they live or anything like that. It's more of, you just need to make sure everyone's in a safe space, and you can't lose that. That is so important. But yeah, I'd say his biggest problem is just the fact, yeah, he was just too greedy. If he just dialed it down, you could have hustled them for a little bit. God, microtransactions, and then made it pay to win.
D&D.
That is one
Not
of...
even that, it's like pay to continue.
Well, no,
they didn't even get to win. They never got to finish the campaign.
That is what pay to win is. That is pretty much pay to win in a nutshell. Because like pay to win in terms of like a PvP setting is more of like you're paying for like the best gear, so you could just decimate the competition. So that's separate to pay to win in something like D&D, which would be a PvE setting, where it's, you are paying for, I mean, I guess you are still paying for the best gear, but that gear lets you beat the game, right? That's because that's in a PvE setting, that's the win, is beating the game. In order for them to continue, they needed that mask. They needed the gear. I guess it's always gear. It's just the purpose of what the gear does. You're either going up against someone else with it, or you're going in it in order to complete the game. And yeah, that's such a beautiful, so beautiful. The reason why he was so desperate at the end is because he had to go back to his crappy job, because he was writing
his shitty 9 to 5.
He was writing everything on this. Everything on, I'm milking this. God, beautiful. Simply beautiful. So I hope you guys enjoyed our first reading of a story and my ramblings thereof. This was so enjoyable. So I'm going this new direction, which is just about me doing whatever I want, but wholeheartedly. It's no longer about like me algorithm chasing. It is solely about me just doing what I want. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see if this creates better content for people. We're going to see if this is something that people enjoy. And we're going to hopefully have fun doing it. I don't know how much time I managed to kill, but hopefully just enough to make this a really good episode. If you enjoyed, let me know in the comments. Hit that like, subscribe. If you're on podcasts, please do the rating stuff. That's always helpful. If you're on like my shorts or whatever, do all those that follow me everywhere, stalk me in places. I love you. Bye bye, boo boo.